The making of a sire. Flying Cowboy 123.
What were the first reports from Blaine about this horse being something special?
To flop and take a look at this guy, that he's a pretty special horse, and he's just getting better every week. One thing that Blaine really mentioned at the time too was that how trainable he was, how good-minded the horse was. And we knew he had the pedigree, we knew he had the looks and the mind. The only thing left is, does he really have what it takes to be a racehorse? And he obviously does.
After showing plenty of promise in Lubbock, Texas at Blaine Woods Training Center, Flying Cowboy 123 continued to heighten his connection's expectations once arriving at Ruidoso with a smashing display in his training race effort prior to his first career start.
The way he broke out so good and so smooth, obviously we didn't rush him any, and he just kind of fell into place that he fit at Ruidoso. And we really didn't want to run him, too early, but he was paid in everything at Ruidoso, and that's the route we took with him.
I first saw him in Ruidoso as a 2-year-old, and when I first saw him, I liked the horse. There's nothing not to like about him. And I know he's a stud colt, and he's really laid back for being a stud colt and does everything right, gallops like a gelding, acts like a gelding. And when I talked to my boss man about him, he said, man, I think this is the next world champion. And sure enough, these horses like him, they just don't come knocking at your door every single year and just fall on your lap. They're hard to find.
With being a $100,000 Ruidoso sales graduate and having a tremendously generous pedigree to boot, the 2-year-old was pointed to contest the Triple Crown Series on the mountain in Ruidoso during his 2-year-old summer campaign. The son of Apolitical Jess was entered into the Ruidoso Futurity trials and received the riding duties of AQHA world champion jockey Ricky Ramirez in his first start.
All set for trial 13 on day 2 for the Ruidoso Futurity. They're running. And off slow music for your ears. Fast break at the rail for OK Margot K. And then we have a Steamin' Eagles beginning to make some steam. Then VGC. Fredo. Next comes Moon Flash Numbers. Flying Cowboy 123.
After his impressive workouts and impressive schooling race, his first out in the Ruidoso trials was pretty disappointing, but we knew the horse could run. He had shown it before, so we went on to the Rainbow trials expecting a better outcome.
Got bumped around a little bit. Wasn't concerned. First out, Blaine says, don't worry about it. He's still got a lot to go.
He ran all over the racetrack. He was too green, and I wanted that by design, but not that green. He acted like I hadn't done a whole lot with him. And so that race was just kind of a learning experience for him.
40 days later, all the training and focus given to the colt was pointing him at his next target, the Grade 1 Rainbow Futurity Trials.
For trial 8 on day 1 for the Grade 1 Rainbow Futurity. All set for the 8. They're running. Ms. talks a lot, a slight stumble from the start. She's trying to recover and catch up to Flying Cowboy 123 and Always Dreaming, and she is coming on, though. And then we go about to Ace of Spades Senator, and then Uncurled Fist, and it's Flying Cowboy 123. Flying Cowboy 123, then Always Dreaming, and this talks a lot. Flying Cowboy 123.
Yeah, in the Rainbow trials, he ran a perfect race. I figured, we got us a racehorse. He didn't make any mistakes. He done just what we wanted him to do. Qualify. Of course, you want to win every time, but he run a good race. Yeah, in the Rainbow, Ricky qualified, 3 or 4 horses, and he opted to ride another horse, and I always leave that decision up to Ricky, so it's not on my shoulders, but Ricky knows him, and he just thought he'd picked a better horse, and on each given day, horses outrun each other.
The Apolitical Jess colt lived up to his high expectations he set with his early show of speed in his initial training and qualified into the Grade 1 Rainbow Futurity. Blaine, with a 2-year-old in the Ruidoso Futurity trials, you had a very green horse. What are some of the adjustments you made moving on to the Rainbow trials?
Most times you go the next race. You don't have a lot of time to make many adjustments. You might school them in a gait or slow them down, what I call it, as far as their mind. But we knew that he would figure it out because he was smart, and we didn't do a whole lot with him between that trial and the Rainbow. And I think we stood him in the gate a few times and, kept him ready to run, obviously, but you don't do a whole lot.
As expected, going into the Rainbow Trials, the horse performed like we thought he would. He got away good, broke awesome, and just winner's trial, pretty impressive like he had done in his previous works. So we were pretty excited going into the final of the Rainbow.
The Paragon Farms' own 2-year-old colt was sent postward in the field of 10 in the Grade 1 $1 million event. And this being only his 3rd career start in his 2-year-old campaign, and thus being in a Grade 1 on the mountain at Ruidoso, with being the 5th fastest qualifier to come out of day 1 of trials for the Rainbow. And as mentioned, the combination of Blaine Wood and Ricky Ramirez has produced 3 qualifiers into the finals, with Ramirez riding MM4 in the morning on Rainbow Futurity Day.
They're running in the Rainbow Futurity. Susie returns off a step slow. She's trying to accelerate now. Outside, Flashing Candy got away fast along with Lethal Lil. And then to the inside, Coach coming. Susie returns is struggling extreme outside. M4 in the morning, exploding. The M4 in the morning wins going away. Ricky Ramirez chose the right one in the Rainbow Futurity.
I think that's the first time he'd ever been hooked up with, with horses of the same caliber as him, and he got a little lost out there. He left there really good, and I think he just got a little lost. And when those horses hooked up, he can see him kind of look at him. Then when he went back to running, well, it was too late. But I think that's the first time he's ever hooked up with something that was as good as he was, and he learned from it. He learned from it.
After a 2nd place finish in the Rainbow Futurity, we were pointing the horse going into the All-American trials, and the horse was training good, doing good going into the All-American.
Oh yeah, he run 3rd in a Grade 1. We wasn't disappointed at all. We figured, well, we'll hopefully pull up sound, and we'll go the next one. And he did. He pulled up really well and just trucked on the next one.
Next stop is the highly competitive All-American Futurity Trials, where weather always seems to play havoc or helper at any given moment. Flying Cowboy 123 goes postward in the All-American Futurity Trials on the next episode of Making of a Sire. Bob Moore Farms in Norman, Oklahoma is proud to announce the arrival of their prized package. The hottest sire prospect of 2019 has left the racetrack and arrived at Bob Moore Farms. The sensational Flying Cowboy 123. Fresh off of a win in the 2019 edition of the Texas Classic Derby. With only 3 horses in history to have won both the Classic Futurity and the Derby.
Cowboy 123 won the Texas Classic Futurity and now Derby.
Standing at Bob Moore Farms in Norman, Oklahoma, Flying Cowboy 123.